If the people of God were to operate with the unity to which the Lord calls us, we would become the single greatest force for productive change in history. That is a bold statement, and it's one that I completely agree with. If the people who claim to follow Jesus would value unity as much as Jesus valued unity, and we worked toward that, the world would look different. We all want our world to look different. We all want our communities to be different. We want them to be better and stronger and healthier and more reflective of God's values and God's glory. And the only way that's ever going to happen is if God's people take His call to unity serious. Now, unity is not always agreeing on the same thing. We've talked about that. Unity is a commitment to a person or a group of people that is so strong, no difference or disagreement can jeopardize the relationship. Now, this is what you want in your home. You want unity in your home with the people you love, because you want there to be such a strong commitment to each other that even though there are differences and disagreements and even disappointments, those things don't jeopardize or ruin the relationships. This is what you want in your marriage. This is what you want with your kids. This is what you want with your circle of friends. This is what you want in your church. And ultimately, this is what you want for all people who follow Jesus. That we would be so committed to the things of Jesus and our relationships to each other that no difference, disagreement, or disappointment could ever jeopardize those relationships. Now, when unity occurs, when this happens, something amazing happens. This man who made that quote earlier says, when this occurs, different gifts, different talents, and different blessings become connected and integrated, and the result is an amazing release of divine power that achieves and accomplishes the impossible. How does this happen? How can we get to unity? Well, there's lots of things that have to happen, but it has to start with me, and it has to start with you. And the first thing you have to do is be willing to do the hard work of pushing past things that we disagree on, pushing past the things that disappoint us, pushing past our differences, and even being willing to work through all of those so that those things don't jeopardize our relationship. Now, in our cancel culture, we've bought into that as Jesus followers. We've bought into the idea that if you don't agree with me, then I just don't have anything to do with you. I can cancel you out of my life and no problem. That if you disappoint me or if you're different than me, well, the best thing for me is just to ignore you, pretend you don't exist, and cancel you out of my life. Or just to walk away from you, walk away from a family, walk away from a marriage, walk away from a church when things are difficult, when there's disagreements or disappointments. And this is not the way of the Jesus follower. The way of the Jesus follower is not to cancel anyone, is not to walk away. The way of the Jesus follower is to value unity as much as Jesus did and be willing to do the hard work, to set aside the egos, to forgive, to lift up each other before we lift up ourselves, and strive for unity. I would like to be a part of a group of people that is so committed to each other that no difference, disagreement, or disappointment could even jeopardize those relationships. And I would like to be a part of the change that would bring in a community and in a world. It starts with me. I'm committed to it. How about you? Will you value unity as much as Jesus does? This was his final prayer, that all of us who would follow him would be perfectly united. How are you doing in this area? Bye.